Morning, Luke. Yes, I'm well, thank you. Well, I haven't been well. I had coronavirus this week. Yes, so I was a bit knocked out this week. Just all the flu-y sort of symptoms, but seem to be coming out the other side of it now, hopefully. So yes, I am feeling much better, thank you. And my son came over from Norway. He went away for the weekend while he was here, and I think he got it in Manchester with all his friends. So then came back and gave it to us, which is nice of him. Anyway, it is what it is. Probably best that it's in my system and it's going out now as well. So maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Anyway, yes. So not too bad, thank you. Anybody else want to say hello? Sorry, I missed your session the other week, Luke. I'd like to have seen that. Is it on replay? Can I catch up? Can I catch up on it on replay? So I've been really behind with lots of things this week, and well, the last couple of weeks really. Yeah, I'm all okay now, thank you. Anybody else there want to say hello? It's in your group, pinned at the top of the page. Oh, okay, lovely. I will catch up with it then. When my son goes home, hopefully goes home Wednesday next week, I might have some time. It's been lovely having him here, but I'm sure he wants to get home, and it's his girlfriend's 30th birthday, because it's been all their 30th this year, like it was my husband's 60th 2 years ago when all this started, and we're hopefully going to go to Cyprus in 3 weeks' time, all being well, to celebrate my husband's 60th of 2 years ago. So it's a strange world we live in. So, thank you, darling. Thank you. So, yes, we'll see what happens. Have we got anybody else coming on live today? A bit early on a Saturday morning, maybe. Say hello if you're there. It'd be nice to see you. See who I'm speaking to, because I can't always see who you are unless your name's on your icon at the top. As I was saying to Luke, I've had coronavirus this week, so my mouth is continually dry. Apart from that, headaches and a bit fluey, but it's not been too bad actually. It's just the staying at home is the hard bit. I'm doing this hand-tied today for somebody, but they're picking it up, so that should be okay. Still not allowed to travel anywhere till next Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Right, let's see if we can get up to 10 and then I'll start. I don't like to keep people waiting if you've been here on time. Morning, Sharon. Yeah, it's just been a bit poorly, but you know, I think we'll all get it eventually. If we don't get it now, you'll get it sometime in the future. The only consolation is we're all double jabbed and you only get a small dose of it, so it hasn't been too bad. And my husband's been getting on some jobs around the house, which has been a bonus. We had, because we live in the country, we get quite a lot of rats in the garden, and he gets a bit paranoid about it, so he's had all the fence down and been lining it all with chicken wire, and anyway, it's kept him happy. Well, not about happy, but it's kept him busy. So, yeah. Morning, Christine. Morning, Yvette. Yeah. You get your second jab tomorrow. Yeah, you definitely need them all. I had my last jab back in May, so I think I had quite good coverage in my body, so hopefully that has definitely helped. So I think if you get it after your 2 lots, then you know you don't feel it so bad. So anyway, let's crack on. We've got 10 people now, so today we're just going to do a hand tied. People always ask me about hand ties. I think people still struggle with them so much. I think it's just a case of just practice. Morning, Breeder. I think you just got to keep practicing. That's all I can say about it. Obviously, I was in business over 12 years with 2 shops, and you're just doing them on a daily basis. You don't even think about them. Morning, Sylvia. Morning, Breeder. But as I say, it's just I'm going to show you the simplest way that I know doing it, and hopefully it'll help you. I find if you get your the foliage I'm using today, which is foliage I use most of the time, is pistache. This is pistache. You can only really get it from wholesalers or flower shops. They will probably all sell it too in flower shops. It's a nice bushy green, and it makes doing hand ties a lot easier. So I just get 4 or 5 of these, put them together, snip out any tops that look a bit woody. You don't want to see the wood, because obviously you're just going to see the tops of these. This is what you're going to see on the top here. So you want nice fresh foliage on the top, really. Okay, so I just get a little bundle like that, just put them together. They don't have to be spiraled as such, but just a nice bushy effect on the top. And then I feed down a couple of flowers that are going to be sitting in the top, just to get it started. And I also just give it a bit of a, pistache comes out quite dry, and it looks quite dry sometimes, and people sometimes think it's a bit dead, but it's not. It's just the way the leaves are. But I love it. It's cheap. For florists, it's cheap. It's not like eucalyptus prices, nothing like that. And it's a good bulky filler. There we go. So just get a little bunch like that. Now the flowers I'm using, I've got some spray carnations. It's all baby pink colours because it is for a baby girl, hand-tied. I've got some alstroemeria, again baby pink. I've got a few white agapanthus. Got a couple of Naomi roses just starting to open, absolutely beautiful. I prefer these to Avalanche at the moment. The Avalanche are a bit soft at the moment, so these are really nice and hard, still very buddy, and yet they're massive. They're lovely. So Naomi I'm using at the moment. I've got a couple of gerberas which are wire. I've got some Lizzianthus, just single Lizzie, one of my favourite flowers. I've got a couple of bloom chrysanthemums. I can't remember the name of this one. I'll look it up and put it in the thing later. It's just like a sort of peachy, like a peach really, peachy colour. And I've got some little spray roses as well, which are really pretty and delicate. And again, I don't remember the name of these, but I will put them in the list later. And I've also, if I need it, I've got a little bit. I don't have any gyp today, but I have got this, which is Limonium Sea Lavender. I get it in big bunches, and it sort of just dries like this, and I just keep it. If I get stuck, I just use this. If I need a little sort of light filler, I'll use this in that. So I just have bunches of it hanging around, so I use that today because I don't have any gyp. So I've literally just got I've got 1, 2, 3, 5 little stems of pistache, which I've just put together. Got rid of any odd bits on the top, any woody bits that are on the top, because this is going to be it's almost like your bed at the top. Alright, just hold that. And we're going to, I'm just going to wire my gerberas first. So I'm just going to wire the gerberas. I've shown this to you hundreds of times before, but literally just get your wire into the top of the head, just push it in gently, and then with one hand at the top hold, the other hand hold the wire at the back and just twist all the way down. That's one wire into the nodule at the bottom. I can't remember what that's called, this bit here, and then just twist all the way down. There we go. So that's those. So we'll go back to our little bunch. So this is our little bunch of greenery. Now I'm just going to put a couple of focal flowers down the front. Your focal flowers are your main flowers, which would be sort of like your roses, your larger flowers, your focal flowers. So I'm just going to put one of these in the middle. Just feed it down. Make sure that all your stems are totally stripped. You can see all my stems are stripped here. Can you see that? All my stems are totally stripped. No leaves lower than where you are going to be tying. So that's really important. So put your first, just feed your first flower in. I feed a couple of flowers through like this before I start spiraling. I find that at least then you've got two exactly in the place where you want them. I can see a bit of woody stem there, so I'm just going to cut that out. Don't want to see any woody bits on the top. So literally got two feeding through. There we go. Right, so then the next thing you do is you twist it, and then you're going to start laying your flowers at an angle. So we're going with our agapanthus, and again you can feed it through the greenery a little bit when you've still got it so much greenery at the top, but you're just putting it on top and at the side, and then turn. Next one, just a different flower, turn, put one of your gerbras in, turn, another agapanthus, turn, and you're just filling in all these gaps that you've got. Let's put a little rose in there, and one there. So already you can see you've got quite a nice sturdy bunch. Okay, and from the top you can see. And just hold it gently. You want to be able to move your flowers. You don't want them too tight. Morning Elaine, morning Sharon. You just want to keep it firm so you're not dropping them, but you want to have a loose hand. You want to work with a loose hand. Okay. So then we'll feed a few other flowers in. So a little bit of, just go around with the what's this called? My brain's gone dead today. I think my brain has got a bit mushy with this coronavirus. Spray carnations. So just go around with those, twisting as you do. So again, so you've got a little bit of colour all the way around. You've just twisted it as you've gone around. There we go. Alright, so just keep twisting it. Now just have a look now. See, I've got a rose here, so maybe I could have one here. So I'm going to put my rose there. And again, you can feed it through a little bit if you've got a lot of bushy foliage there. Just put it where you think it's going to look good. Hold it, twist. I'm going to put my other chrysanth here. Twist. Alstroemeria, twist. Alstroemeria, twist. So just look at where your colours are. You want it nice and full, but nice and soft too. Right, I've got one more agapanthus, which I'm going to put there. Okay, so you're looking from the top, but you're also looking from the side as you do it. Now I've got one more gerbera, and I've got my Lizzie. I tend to put my Lizzie around the edge. It gives it a nice sort of fluffiness. Where's my gerbera? I've got one gerbera here. Sorry, going out the screen. Got one gerbera here. So I'm going to put one gerbera over this side as well. Let's just make that even. So we've got one on either side there. See? 1, 2. Right, and I've got my few little bits of dried limonium. And this is like a little white. It's like a white version. But these literally you can just sort of feed down through. We'll just put a few little bits around the edge, just to give it a little light fluffiness. Just put a few little bits around the edge, just to give it a little lightness. It's funny old stuff because it's sort of half dried. So what you can do is you can feed one bit down like that. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so you're just getting that nice fluffiness. And we're going to go around with our Lisianthus. Make sure all your leaves are off anything that's going to be tied. Got a few odd ones here, so you don't want any leaves higher than that. I'm just going to put a few around the edge. So I've got one there, done. Again, I'm going to get rid of these leaves. Oh, my little stem, my little buds at the top have been snapped off, so I'll just get rid of those. I hate that when I lose buds. I love the little buds at the top. So, and then twist. Next one. Twist. Now, if you have a look now and see where you think your front of your bouquet is going to be, I think I'm going to have this as my front because I've got the the Status Limonium at the front. I've got a nice little bit of agapanthus there, lots of lovely fluffy things. So I'm going to have this as my front. So decide where your front is, and then I'm going to put the last. I've got 5 Lysianthus. I'm going to put the other one at the back. But I don't really want a big sticky thing out at the front. I want them at the back. So just turn it around where you're going to put it. Put it at the back. There we go. So move it round to the front again. If you've got any odd little bits of Lizzie that have fallen off, you can put those at the front. As long as they're going to reach where your tying point is and your water is going to be. That's the most important thing. Alright, so that's going to be the back. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it at the back. And that's going to be your front here. So keep the front still there. So move it around so you've got your front as you're looking at it. And just make sure they're all where you want them. If you want to bring some of the one, I tend to bring some of my flowers at the back up a little bit so that people can see them, because otherwise sometimes they get a bit squashed. My agapanthus is a bit squashed there at the back. See this one here? So I'm just going to move him up a little bit. But just play about with it a little bit till you're happy with how it looks. You can move the front ones down a little bit. I tend to be a bit front facing when I do hand ties, because I want people to see all the flowers. Right, I'm just going to use these last few little bits of what you can do as well. You can just poke these down because they're not going to fall out. It's going to be tied nice and top, and they're dried, so it doesn't matter. They don't need to meet the so you can cheat with things like this, little bits of dried. So if you buy this, or if you grow it in your garden, then great. You can use it for all sorts of things, and just use it to fill in. And just make sure it goes down tightly and it's not going to move. Use your hand to wind it down through if it doesn't want to go, like that one. It's gone now. There we go. So that's the front. So now we're going to tie it. Tying purposes, I just use the cheapest tie that you can use. You can use all sorts of fancy ties. I just use a piece of ribbon that you get from a reel of florist tape, and I just strip it and get a piece of it. When you're doing commercial floristry, you want it as cheap as possible. And I literally, you hold the hand tie with one hand, pull the tie with one hand, and just go round a couple of times, tight but not over tight. And then just tie at the front. And the little tip with this is if you tie it over twice and pull it, your ribbon won't move. I've got a big bee in here now. Go away. Or is it a fly? Okay. And then tie it again, cut it off, so then that's nice and tied tightly. Great. Right, my Lizzie has snapped off the top there, so I'm going to have to replace that one. Put another one in. That happens sometimes. It must have just been a weak bit where it went through, so I'll put another one through there, if I can feed it down through. If you can't, don't worry, just put it at the back and then just do another tie. So that's what we'll do. We'll put it where I wanted it. I'm just going to use another ribbon and just retie it. It's not the end of the world. No one's going to know. So you can see the tying again then. So hold it in with one hand, going round, put it on the desk, pull the 2 ribbons round. So 1, 2, and then it will stay there. It won't fall out. That's a good thing, but don't over tie it because it can snap as well. They can sort of cut each other as they sort of slice each other as well. So then, proportion wise, you want 1/3 stems at the bottom to roughly 2/3 flowers. So just cut off about 1/3 with your scissors and your secateurs, just straight across. Now, if you can't cut it, it's probably because you've reached a nice woody stem, so we'll get the secateurs on that. Cut the ones you can cut with your scissors, and leave the ones you can't cut. You can come back to those. Just straight across. See, I've got quite a lot of the original stems of the. See the ones which are the hard woody stems of the oh God, my words aren't coming out today. Must still be getting over coronavirus, I think. The pistache. Right, okay, then nice straight cuts of those. If I've got any energy left. There we go. Just nice and straight. Keep them nice and straight. That's the most important thing. You want a nice flat edge there. Get rid of all your stems. So you've got a nice flat edge for your hand tied to stand up. Right, so then we're going to leave that on this side, and then I'm going to show you how to cut your cellophane. I'm just going to move you over this side. Hopefully you can see it okay here. Might be a bit bright over here, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So this is normal cellophane. Comes in 80 or 100 centimetre lengths. And it's a bit wide for what we want, but literally I cut, you can either do 2 or 3. I like the effect of 3, I think it looks fluffier, so I tend to use slightly smaller amounts, so probably maybe about 10 inches down, and just cut it. I want 3 of those. I'll measure the first one, I'll cut 3. I want nice sharp scissors for this. I mean, obviously if you're being eco-friendly, then use paper. I'll do some more eco-friendly ones in the future, but at the moment I have to use the stocks that I've got up. I am going more over to eco-friendly. I bought my first box of Oasis. That's much better. It biodegrades 50% quicker. So I'm going to try that this week, and then I'm going to try the Agra Wool later. So you've got your legs, but what I find is it's too long. So I take a little snip off. So take off about 3 inches, and I find that's just about right. And for me, the way I do my wrapping, just corner to corner, and corner to corner, and then in the middle, just put this end point in the middle of your mountains. I'll move that one off, you can see it maybe better. So you've got like a mountain range here, 1, 2. So this point goes in the middle of that mountain range. And then just sellotape. That's the first one. And then second one. So it's got your 2 points. And then in the middle, this point goes in the middle of these 2 points. Just sellotape. Morning, Jane. Again, the third one. Okay, 1, 2. You want to make sure you get your trusty sellotape. So I've got 3 little wraps, and that's what we're going to put around the flower. bring your bouquet over. I always start with the front, so I've got my front here, got my front one on first, just gently pull it and hold it at the tying point. Next one. Now as you can see, you've got the bit that you folded over, that's your double side, and then you've got your single side. So I put that one on, so I've got my single side here. So then I'm putting a double side on top of the single side. You can understand that. The double on top of the single. And then we just put a few little bits of cellophane in there, just to keep it. 1, 2, turn it around. And then I've got room for one more piece of cellophane. And then I've got my double and my single. So I've got a single here now because I have my double that I put on top. You're always putting your double on top of your single. Put the double on top of your single. And then on the other side, just tuck it underneath. So you've got your single and your double again. Single and double will meet on this side as well. And then just a couple of bits of cellophane just to keep it. And then that's your, so then move it around. So you've got your front. So you've got your front here. This is going to be always going to be my back with the Lizzie around the edge. And that's how I do a bouquet. You can just do it with two. What I do sometimes is I trim a bit of this off because there's too much. If it overpowers the flowers, then I want to cut it down a bit. So I've just got a little bit more sellotape down there just to keep it nice and tight. And then we're going to put our bottom on. So that just stands nicely. If you've tied it tightly enough and you've cut all your stems straight, it will always stand up. Alright, so that's there. So we're just going to cut another piece of cellophane for the bottom. Put that on the cellophane. I've lost it. There it is. Okay, the bigger the room you've got, the more space you've got, the more you lose. That's what I find. And I tend to just cut about a metre square, roughly. And if you've got a lot of woody stems, I also do what I call a nappy, just another little bit. So you don't have to use your best cellophane. You can use a cheaper cellophane if you've got a cheaper one. But for speed, I'm just showing you here. I cut another little strip, and that I put underneath the sharp stems, just so that it doesn't break through my main cellophane. Alright, so I've gone diagonally now, so I've got a corner at the back here. I've got my nappy. I've got my nappy on here. And then I've got my flowers on here, so the front is at the front here. I pull up my nappy. Someone described it as a nappy once, it just tickled me. But I don't even know where I saw this, or if I devised it, I can't remember, to be quite honest. I've been doing it for so many years. Just literally pull it around and a tiny little bit of tape just to keep it there. And that just protects. Some people do 2 squares of cellophane, but you don't need 2 squares. Just use this, it's a cheaper way of using less cellophane. Okay. So then you've got your square, bring your square up, bring in your point at the front, straighten out your edges, and make sure you've got an even amount on both sides. So always holding at the tying point, which is the most important thing. If you tie it lower down, what will happen is when you put the water in, it will just slide off. So the most important thing here when you're doing a hand tie is to hold it where you had your original tying point. All right, and just literally pinch and pull all the way around, making sure that your sides are higher than your tying point, so that when you put the water in, it doesn't all fall out. Alright, so using your thumb as a guide, just pinch and pull until you've got a nice flat bottom and nice pulled up side. You don't want a big baggy bottom, otherwise what happens when you put water in, it will just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it will be very messy. So I've just got it about a bit till you're happy with it. You cut the cellophane off later. And then again, I've got my ties that I told you about before. I find these the most cheap and economical way. Hold it with your thumb at the back, holding all of the bouquet. Just feel it all the way through, right the way round. pulling it as you go. Trying to get your skin in there, like you pinch your skin. So nice and tight, and again exactly the same tie as we did before. One over the other, one over the other again, and pull it, and it will stay. It will stay exactly where you put it, which is a good thing. Some of these ties, sometimes if you use Hessian ties or wired ties, sometimes it slips. So I find I've used it for years and it's always worked. Why change what works? It's cheap, and then I get rid of a bit more of my, I don't want too much of this cellophane. So depending on the width of your cellophane, sometimes you don't need to cut it quite so wide. And you just want a nice little frill at the front. There. That's your hand tie. And then you'll fill that with water. Have I got any water? That's the next question. Probably not. Lucky, yes I have got my watering can, my watering can. And then I always put flower food in here, because what I find is that when I give people bouquets or I deliver bouquets, they never bother taking them out of the water bubble. People are just too lazy. They just go, I'm going to move you over this side, it's a bit bright over here. I don't know if you can see me. Move you back over this side. A bit too bright over there. So I put 2 of these in, which makes 1 litres worth of fluid, which is roughly what this takes. So I use this jar. This jar's about 750, I believe. You don't have to be precise, but put some water in it first and let the flower food dissolve. Most of these flower foods go clear now, which is nice. Just give it a bit of a stir. There we go, that's all clear. Because it's not very nice thin, like mucky water in here. People think the water is old, and it's not. So then just pour down the centre, holding all the sides and holding all of your sides up, because if you've got any of them come down, then the water's going to come down, you're going to get very wet. And I tend to just put it into my body, pour it down the centre, not into any of the flower heads, because you can ruin the flower heads like that. Just pour it right down. And if you put your thumb or your finger on here, you can feel where the water's coming up to. And then I just top up with the rest of the water. If you do it in front of a mirror as well, I have a mirror that I work with as well, I can see where the water, I can feel that the water's up to about here. When you've been doing it a long time, you kind of know. So just one more bit, I take it right up to the time point. If there's any of the flowers that were cut a bit shorter, then they're literally going to drink right from this crease. Okay, so that's that done. So we've got our nice tidy water bubble. Nice and tidy. Morning, Karen. And we've got our little fluffy bit at the front. Now I'm just going to get rid of a little bit of this cellophane, because I think there's a little bit too much. So I literally just trim around. I don't mind there being a little bit more at the back, so it's a bit more supportive, but I don't want to see too much at the front, because I think it just detracts from the prettiness of the flowers. So just take another little. And sometimes you find with the edges anyway, they get dusty and dirty when they're in your workshops and stuff, so it's nice just to take the little edges off. I'll leave the back one. That's probably maybe one more little bit off there. There we go. So you can see the flowers, and that's what you want to see. You want to see the flowers, that's the most important thing. Okay. You don't want too much cellophane around the edge. Just trim it as you go along. That's your hand tie. And then I always put mine in a box or a bag. This one is for a baby girl. So I think I have a pale pink one. Let me see if I have a pale pink one. These are called Castillo Boxes. And they come flat like this, so it's a bit of a pain in the neck. And then you have to make them, it's like origami. So you fold them flat. If you've got any of the same as this one. Fold them flat, sides come up, top bends, and move the next one along. in, next one goes in. Quite simple. Just make sure you bend the top so that it don't squash aside. And then the last bit, so you've got the box there ready to put your water bubble in. So you could put an Oasis bubble in there as well. So put your flowers in with the front facing you. You're happiest with that. Close the doors. And just put those in. There we go, so it's in a nice protected box. This makes it easier for delivering. It makes it much more sturdy for the customer. And that's why I said to you about putting the flowers in. The flower food in, because most people when they get it like this, they don't do anything with it. They just leave it as it is. And this is for a new baby, so the last thing she wants to be doing is putting flowers in a vase. So it's all done for her. She doesn't have to do anything. And then I like Hessian, so I'm going to do a Hessian bow, but because it's a baby girl, I think I'm just going to do pink ribbon. We're just going to have pink. Okay. So, here, Kerry. No, the male's there. So, this is just wired organza ribbon. It's nice and soft. This is really soft pink, and this is ideal for a new baby. So to do a bow, all I do is I leave enough. I leave about 8 inches for the end because I like to do a ruched edge, and then holding in one hand, get one loop, second loop, just holding it in the middle. I have 4 loops. Try and keep it sort of neat. It doesn't really matter, it's all wired and it'll all pull out, so it's not imperative. So 4 loops, pinch in the middle, and then cut. And you need nice sharp ribbons for this and I've just got a pink florist ribbon, put into the middle, pinch with your fingers, and just tie at the back. People overcomplicate bows, I'm not quite sure why they do it. Just do 4 loops and 2 bits at the bottom. Keep it simple. Why make something more complicated than it needs to be? These American ones don't love all their fancy bows. But I just like a nice simple bow. There we go. Couldn't get any simpler than that, but beautiful. There we go. And then what I do is I tend to put my bow here, not around the bottom of the box. I just think it looks nicer. So this goes in between. Just feed your way around, all the way around. Do a nice soft tie around the back. Just finish it off. You could just cut these off, but again, I think it looks nicer. Bring up. This is the wrapping from your bottom of your bubble wrap, your water wrap. So that just keeps all the water in. And if people put any more water down there, it's not going to make the box wet. So just make sure you've got all of that there. So see, the ribbon just sits, the bow just sits nice on the top. And then I always do a forked tongue. Just prefer it. So put the 2 sides together. And then from the middle, cut outwards. That's where you need sharp scissors. So you get that nice forked tongue. So the 2 outer edges, wide edges together. Cut from the inside. And always cut the edges because they can be quite sharp, obviously, with the wires. And then what I like to do is just pinch. I just think it gives another little dimension. So that's how I do my ribbons. And then if you wanted to, you can put a bit of this ribbon around the box, but if it feels okay, just leave it. It's fine. And then sometimes if I've got little baby bits and pieces, when you've had a florist shop for many years, you pick up all these things over the years. I've got these little baby prams. They're a bit twee, but I can put that on a little wire and just put that in the middle. You can just put that in as a little. I'm just going to put that on a wire. I've got a wire left. Yes, I have. So I would just keep that on there because they might want to hang it in their bedroom or something. Keep it. Some people like to keep these things. So just put that on the back. I would just put it on with a bit of sellotape. Don't worry too much. Sellotape will stick to this. It's like a foam, I suppose. Or like those fuzzy felts. Remember felt? It's felts. That's what they call the fuzzy felts as a kid. It's a bit like that. Just get rid of any bits. So if you've got anything like this, it's just a little memento people might like to keep. So it's a little pram. It's quite sweet, isn't it? And then just feed that through. Just have it so it's poking up a little bit. You can see. And that's my baby girl hand-tied. Hope you like it. So somebody will be coming to pick this up very shortly. And I'm going to be doing a lot more planning for my garden next year. Loads of seeds that I'm going to be growing. So what are you up to this weekend? Hope you enjoyed the hand-tied. And I don't know what we'll do next week. We'll see what happens next week. What we're going to do next week. Maybe give me some ideas if you got any ideas for next week. But that's my hand-tied. You can see the little pram at the top. So a nice full bouquet. I like to see a nice full bouquet. I think people want to see value for money. They don't want to see skimpy little arrangements. And none of these flowers are typically expensive. So that would retail about £38. About £38. That's what that would cost. Maybe you could put a bit more extra in and get a lot more money, but I give quite a lot of value for money, so I think that's quite a nice bouquet. Didn't know you'd been poorly. Oh, thanks. Yeah, well, it's only this week. Coronavirus crept up on us all. My son's been away, and he's over here from Norway, and we all caught it in the end. So yeah, thanks, Kieran. But anyway, it's probably best that we've had it. It's out of our systems now, hopefully. And we can all move on with our lives. Hopefully going to Cyprus in a few weeks' time. So hopefully that will be all right. And it will be out of our system by then, but we'll see. Beautiful full bouquet. Lots of good tips and wrapping in the hand. Thank you. You're very welcome, Linda. As I say, if I can share any of my knowledge with you, I'm really happy to do that. And again, if you want anything that you want to have a look at, that you'd like me to do, isn't too expensive, then I will do it for you next week. So have a lovely week, everybody. Keep safe. Don't catch the coronavirus. And have a great week. And I will see you next week. Invite your friends. Let's keep the numbers going up. I think we're up to about 3,400 now, so it's not bad. But please keep continuing to invite your friends and family. As you know, I do a live most Saturdays or Sundays, and I will continue to do that as long as we get the numbers keep coming in. All right. Have a lovely weekend, everybody, and I will see you next week. Thank you. Bye. If you've asked any questions, I will answer them individually. So don't worry, you will see an answer. But I don't always see them as I'm doing things when they pop up on the screen because it's just on my phone. All right. So have a lovely weekend, and I'll speak to you all soon. Have a great day. Bye.